Nat, welcome to the CEO Global Network podcast. It's great to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking the time, making the time to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here with you, John.
That's great. I'm excited too. Right off the top, I want to congratulate you and your team for being awarded the highly coveted Canadian Business Excellence Award. That's great. Good for you. That's a really nice accomplishment, nice recognition of what you're doing.
For sure. It's actually our first award in 10 years that isn't directly related to the work that we do. So we are very excited as a team to receive it as well. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I'd like to start with a question around, I know you're a nature lover and, you find clarity and creative fuel from nature. And how has trail running, how has trail running shaped the way you lead and make decisions?
Yeah. So I've always been incredibly passionate about being outside and exercising. So those two things really come together perfectly in trail running. But what I've come to realize and really appreciate is that in an effort to be really a grounded, thoughtful, and positive leader, your physical, your mental, and your emotional health really have to be balanced and all have to work together. So that physical exercise in nature personally is the only thing that really helps me bring those three into harmony. And when you do it consistently and for a long enough period of time, I would say that you learn that patience and persistence are probably the two most vital elements of running a business. And those are the things that I've come to really take from trail running and just being in nature, generally speaking.
Yeah, no, well, thanks for that. And this question's kind of tied to that, Nat, and you speak openly about protecting joy in your day-to-day life. And how do you balance that joy with the realities and the pressures of running a business? How do you do that?
I don't know if I do it well, but prioritizing joy in day to day is incredibly important for me. And it's about the little things, really. It's about recognizing that even when you're having a tough day, as we all do, you still take a pause at the end of it and recognize what's one positive thing or thing that really made me happy or brought me joy that I can hone in on. And I think that's incredibly important for business owners because there's a reason why we decided to get into the leadership space or running a business of your own or being an entrepreneur. So it's really coming back to that at the end of the day. And sometimes when you're having a horrible day at work, it's finding joy outside of it. So going outside for a walk, petting your dog, having a great dinner with your kids, whatever it is that you know makes you happy, bringing it back to that. And I think it's important to refresh your balance that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. You co-founded Hyphen a decade ago now. What is one principle from those early days that still shapes a Hyphen today?
That's an easy question to answer for me because one principle that really has shaped Hyphen from day one is our values alignment. And it's rooted truly in how my business partner, Richard Lee, and I met. We first crossed paths while volunteering for a Sick Kids Foundation event called Breakfast of Champions. And it's that shared commitment to giving back that's really sparked our friendship and ultimately a business partnership for us. So I would say that back when we started working together, that kind of terms of purpose-driven business or values-based business weren't very wisely used. And for us, we trusted each other in that value creation and really having that common foundation that still guide us today.
Yeah. Well, that's great. You often talk about responsible growth, underline the word responsible
Yeah.
in B2B marketing. And what does that look like in practice, especially when you're scaling business, you want to grow, but what about that responsible growth? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So here's what I know. Responsible growth and ambitious scaling are not mutually exclusive. And in fact, I'd argue the opposite. I think it's really short sighted and frankly irresponsible to assume that growth requires like pretty much steamrolling everything in your path. And it's been shown time and time again that that mindset rarely leads to sustainable success. And specifically in B2B marketing, I think the rise of digital has really intensified the pressures to move fast. And that has caused organizations to be overly tactical. So chasing trends, quick wins, metrics without really any foundation. But in my 20 years in the industry, I've really never seen any company grow with supportive marketing without having a clear strategy. And the act of building a strategy in and of itself, to me, is a practice of responsibility and intentionality. So that's really step one. And from there, responsible marketing is about being really mindful of the choices that you make in your tactics and in your execution, because everything we create, whether it's digital or physical, also creates waste, right? So if you, for some of organizations, that responsible marketing may look like choosing a virtual gift bag versus physical swag that so many of us kind of like toss out, right? Or we have so much of it we really don't need, or being mindful of the quantity of printing that you're doing based on actual demand rather than buying the cheapest option, which is typically bulk, right? So the way I see it is that these aren't really compromises, they're really smart budget conscious decisions.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they also add to how your business runs and the culture and how you connect with your audiences as well. So those are just some of the more physical examples, I would say, of responsible B2B marketing. But digitally, it can be as simple as switching to a green energy host, compressing your images on your landing page or your website, archiving even or deleting outdated ad campaigns that are online, which a lot of people don't think about. But all these things add to the digital waste and your digital footprint as well. But they also make you slow down as a business. And in a way where, for example, load speed is incredibly important on the website. So if you reduce the size of your images and switch to a green host, these things don't add cost, but they add to the experience that your audience has or your clients have with you digitally. So all of them really reduce unnecessary waste and help with the bottom line. So I really think that responsible growth and marketing isn't about doing less, it's about more doing better.
Wonderful. Nat, you have you've helped, your company has helped many organizations be successful. Is there one sort of client story that you can share with us that sticks with you, that kind of stands out of all the companies that you've helped over the last 10 plus years?
Yeah. So I think I will actually lead that back to my experience very early in the Hyphen journey. And we were really deep into discussions with a prospective client. We've had multiple meetings at this point, have done multiple revisions of proposals. And as the very last step, we were invited to present to their senior leadership team. And the challenge is that the date that they chose fell on a long awaited vacation that I had planned with my partner. And as a result of that, I kind of went to them and said, hey, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it. My team will be there. So we could either proceed as is or we can reschedule. They decided to proceed as is. The presentation went really well. The team delivered a strong presentation. We were quite optimistic about it all at the end of the day. But when I came back, I really learned that they decided not to proceed with us because they felt like I should have been there, whether I presented or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment has really taught me a lasting lesson where being present in the room matters. As senior leaders, as company owners, or whatever it is, that your presence signals commitment, and sometimes that is the deciding factor for organizations.
Essential. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. That's a great story. Just a last question, Nat, and then we'll wrap up. You have taught future content strategists in the classroom. What is something that your students have taught you in return? Is there something that kind of sticks with you?
So I taught at a pivotal moment just before COVID hit and all the students went into the virtual teaching mode. And a couple of things. I was exploring teaching as a possible opportunity as a retirement job for me. And I realized that as much as I enjoy preparing the curriculum, being in the classroom, and building relationships with the students, I am not a good, consistent teacher per se. But at the same time, what I've taken away from the students is not to take myself very seriously and to have fun. And I know that these things sound cliche, but there's nothing like putting your heart and soul into something and then coming into a room of kids who have all different interests and are there to get a mark. It's an incredibly humbling experience, but really what made me connect with the students is just the positive energy you bring to the room and having a good time. And sometimes saying, you know what, I have a whole lesson planned for us today, but let's just have a conversation about this cool ad that we saw, or like what's standing out to you on TikTok, or teach me something, really. So it's having those conversations and having a good time. And yeah.
Yeah, that's a great lesson back, isn't it? That's a great lesson back. Nat,
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for being on the CEO Global Network podcast. We really appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, John. And it's always, always, always a great time having a chat with you.
Thank you.